Joining us today is legendary rocker Robin McAuley. He's rocked out with McAuley Schenker Group, Black Swan. Well, he's back now with his third solo album, Soulbound, coming out on February 28th on Frontier Music. Robin, 2025, there's a lot of decisions for you to make. You got the new album, you're touring, you're on the Monsters of Rock cruise, but you and your wife, Gina, have a huge decision to make. What are the names that you're going as grandparents, first-time grandparents? This is an important decision. What would we come up with?
Oh, that's pretty funny. Good morning from me, John, and Metal Mayhem. Thanks for having me. Okay, so my wife, Gina is Austrian, and when the announcement came, she goes, "Well, just so you know, I'm not going to be called grandma." So she immediately got a sticker that says Oma, O-M-A, which is Austrian for grandma, grandmother, whatever you call it. And it's already in our car. And so she made it official. She got the word in early, and I'm an OPA, O-P-A. So an Oma and an Oma and an OPA, and I went, good luck with that.
I happen to have some Irish friends that come from Ireland, and right. I did some research, and excuse my pronunciation here, but granddad in Irish is Dado. Is that how
Dado.
you pronounce?
Yeah, that's pretty close. Yeah, Dado.
Okay. Yeah. And grandma is Mame.
Yeah, I can see both of those working really well.
All right. Well, spent me a half hour to get the pronunciation,
yeah,
but
I swear to God, yeah. So I said, yeah.
Well, congratulations! It's as a first time grandparent. How has your life changed? You have a grandson.
He's awesome. I mean, he's awesome. First time grandparents. Big deal. Much excitement in the McAuley household, and I just actually spoke to my son Casey. He was actually, he loves the music, so he was just actually sending me some new tracks. He just discovered this band called Threadbare, and it's amazing stuff. It's a little sort of Rush-ish, a little Police-ish, and then not, and really, really cool stuff. He gets very excited when he finds something new, and he shoots it off to the old man, and he goes, "Have a listen to this, Dad. This is pretty cool." And he said, I was already rehearsing last night, and I went, "Where did you find time to rehearse? You have a child." And he says, "Oh, last night I started listening to Steelheart, and I'm seeing if my pipes were still there," because he's got a really high voice, and he normally does backup vocals on my solo stuff. He didn't do it on Soulbound because he's a dad now. He was very busy. Mm-hmm. So he was like super excited this morning, telling me, "Oh, Dad, my voice is still there, and check out this band Threadbare. It's awesome." So here I just promoted Threadbare. So go for it, guys. It's pretty awesome.
Well, he's got a lot on his plate with that newborn. But so the new one, Soulbound, why so quick after the last one was only 2 years ago? Frontier's got you right back to work.
We actually got slowed down, believe it or not. It should have been out. Oh my God, I think as early as May 24, I should have submitted all of that. I found myself out doing Sweden Rock and Barcelona Rock and Hungary Rock festivals with MSG. I had submitted everything, not by May. It was a little slow. And then, of course, Alessandro Del Vecchio leaves the label. So now we were in a sort of a void. And then I was introduced to my new producer, Aldo Lenobile. And we took it from there. We ran with it. And now we have February 28th as the official drop date. There's another single coming out on the 11th, which will be, Tuesday, called Wonder of the World. That'll come out on Tuesday. So that'll be the third single. And then we'll release another single, Best of Me, as we drop the record on February 28th. So lots going on.
Well, the new one, a lot heavier than some of the previous ones. Is that because you have the new producer, or has the relationship with you and your guitarist expanded to the point where
when Alexander and so we started the process like we did on Standing on the Edge and Alive, and I spoke to Alessandro at that time when he had submitted like a bucket of songs, um, and I said I really want to push Andrea Cerveza, who's been my guitar player. You know, I consider him my guitar player. I mean, that's pretty possessive right there, right? But I just love his playing. I love his tone. I love his melodies. And I went, I really want to push him up front and center. I want to hear more of him. And he's more involved in the writing this time than he was on Standing on the Edge of the Life. So there was that factor. And then, of course, Aldo comes in, who's a great guitar player, a great bass player. And I said to Aldo, I really need to keep Andrea here because he's kind of my sound for my solo stuff. And I really want to push him. So he goes, I don't have a problem with that. He's an awesome guitar player. And then we introduced a new drummer on this, Alfonso Masserino, who's just killer. And then we also have additional guitars from Alessandro Mamola, who's awesome guitar player. And then some keys. I think Soulbound, the title track, is the one that has really the only real key pads on it, and that's Antonio Agate. So new lineup. You know, when you put different chemistry together, you get a little turn of events, and we wanted it edgier, more in your face, and a little bit more rockier. And so here we are with Soulbound. I'm very happy with it. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned the first two singles, I'll Die and Soulbound,
Yeah.
completely different types of songs. I mean, what was the thought process behind releasing those two in as the first two singles? Because
I kind of wanted a little bit of contrast. I always liked the idea of opening up with Till I Die. We did the video, which I really wanted to sort of channel my Motorhead Ace of Spades sort of look.
okay, well, you
Right,
hit it, you hit it.
right. And I also wanted. I don't like performance videos, John. You know, I mean, I know I've done a trillion of them, but I don't like the whole standing on stage, get the lights, follow the camera. I've never been down for that. I don't even like photo shoots as it goes. So
Mhm.
I really wanted something that was very out, open space, more sort of mini movie themed, and sort of with a Quentin Tarantino sort of, you know, what the hell is this kind of vibe? Where is he going? What's he running from? Will he ever get there? Is there anybody following him? All of that, and you never really find out. And but I'll keep doing it till I die.
Well, you know, the Frontiers model is usually the green screen videos. How'd you get the brass to green light a
You know,
conceptual video, if you
the
will?
brass are really good to me. The brass are really good to me, and I think maybe they sort of have a little bit of empathy for the old man.
Um,
So they go, let him do whatever he wants to do. I mean, it's not really that simple, but same video director that we have on all of the Black Swan stuff. He does all the solo stuff, and it's not that he's an in-house guy. He does other stuff too, um, and he loves. He always thinks I'm a little bit crazy, and he goes, "Always something different. Just can't be just the same old streamline stuff." And I'm going, you know me, I just don't want to go down that same rabbit hole all the time. You know, it's classic rock. It's me at my age. How different is it going to be, right? Um, I still I can't get away from a good melody. I do like a good melody, a hook line, and I try to make it sort of fresh and just take it up to another level. Soulbound, completely different. So when I had submitted all the earlier tracks for what I thought would be the record, and then Aldo comes in and Aldo goes, I think I could introduce half a dozen or so more songs. Have a listen, see what you think. So he sent me about 6 songs. Out of that, I think I settled on 3. Soulbound was one of those written by Teresa Persson and Jan Ackerson from Sweden. And you know, those Swedes are great songwriters. And I just liked the sound. It had a sort of a symphonic tone to it. I loved the title. Um, the demo was good, but I wanted to put my stamp on it, so I re-recorded the demo. sent it back to
Okay.
Aldo. He goes, "This is great," and I went, "Good. I'm glad you like it because I really like to keep the title as well." I have the same graphic artist that worked on the first two records, Nello Del Olmo, and I threw some ideas at him, and he came back with an amazing cover, and it's definitely a contrast, and it's probably the standout track on the record in terms of it's the only one that's completely different than the rest. And I wanted to show a little bit of the light and shade and the diversity, and let the rest of it just, bang wallop,
Oh, yeah. Well, before we get into my notes on the new one, quick question. Are all the kids playing nice together? You have a new producer, you have your engineer is from the last couple, the band, all intents purposes, besides the new drummer. Is everyone getting along well? And has it
You know what
enhanced the in
what's going to be
studio?
yeah, what's going to be particularly interesting and I want to say exciting for me is I will also perform at the Frontiers Rock Festival in April in Milan. It's a 3-day festival. I'm on the last day, and I will actually get to perform with all of the guys on the record, which is phenomenal. And I think we will probably add another half dozen shows following the festival. So I'm super excited about that. Yes, yes, it's a big happy family with great, great, great players. Yeah.
That lens, I don't want to jump ahead, but so this studio band is playing with you live. What about the Gathering of Kings band
Ah,
that you're playing
awesome.
with?
Awesome band. So I did Sweden. I did a show in Sweden, the Rocknet Indoor Festival last week.
Hmm.
And Gathering of Kings comes from Gothenburg. And uh, when the show was announced to me, they jumped in and they went, "Can we be your band because we're big fans of the McAuley Schenker period?"
Okay. Okay.
And they said, "We would just love to play this stuff. Please say yes, blah, blah, blah." And we only had 2 4-hour sessions, never met the guys before. I walked into the room, they started playing, and the damn thing sounded better than the record, if that's even possible. It was more powerful, it was fresher, it was in 2025, and I was, wow, this is amazing. And of course, I had to relearn a lot of that stuff, So I was the
Yeah.
one, I was the weak link, you know. And it was fantastic, and the show went so well that the promoters at the Skozerjet Festival, end of July into August, which I did 2.5 years ago with MSG, they invited me to participate in this year's festival. So I'll be going back to Sweden early August for that.
All right. Well, you're busy already.
Yeah.
Let's get into the album. Got some notes. What's the story and message behind the song "There Was a Man"?
Ah, well, I suppose it's me sort of going, where I am in life, thinking, how did I get here? What did I do? Who do I know? Who did I meet? Did I piss people off?
Yeah.
And who's responsible for all that's gone before and whatever comes ahead. And I just started, reminiscing and thinking, there's always, it depends who you are without getting up on your pedestal. For everybody, at least for me, there's always a reason for everything. That's how I
Mhm.
look.
Oh,
And my reason for the season was there has to be somebody behind this, and that's kind of where I went with it. There is somebody responsible, and I came up with the title "There Was a Man," the story goes, and he had a plan, and thankfully I was part of that plan and for what it is that I have done, and thankful and grateful, and there you have it.
they did. All right. Another cool song, "Best of Me." What
Ah,
inspired the message behind that? Because Robin, there is a message, and I received a message. Let's see if it's your message.
um, you know, for me, I have to like the music first because I had about 20 songs maybe to sift through before I settle
Mhm.
on my little bag and go, okay, I'll work on this. And I listen to every track so many times. I mean, just so many times before I even put pen to paper. I don't have a book of magic words. I don't have old lyrics. I don't have any of that stuff lying around. It's like in the moment. So I'm
Mhm.
listening to it, and the song starts telling me that this is the direction I should go, And It's basically a little bit like there was a man, you throw the kitchen sink at me and you kick me and I'm down and whatever you do, you won't get the best of me because uh you have to stay strong, you have to stay positive and we hit the barriers and we hit the ditches and we hit the highs and the lows and we shall succumb. And it's me having a sort of a fight with myself, basically.
Whenever you hear these sayings, that have like three words that start with B, like you have broken, beaten, and scarred. Then
All
you
right.
come around with bloodied, bruised, and beautiful. What
So
happened?
I know. So as I mentioned earlier, Aldo said I have some new writers, new songs I'd like to introduce you to. And so one of the writers, Giancarlo Floridia, has worked with me on most of the videos, Black Swan, and most of my solo stuff. So he's always in the mix, he's always there. Um, and he has always got a great deal of input. And then he became a songwriter for the label, for Frontiers. And so he had a bunch of tunes, and he didn't know that I got two of his songs. So one of his songs was Bloody, Bruised, and Beautiful. Um, he sang the demo, and when he found out that I was listening to it, he goes, "Oh, dude, don't listen to the vocals." And I went, "Oh, trust me, I'm not." And then we were joking around, and I said, I hear some changes that I'd like to make. And he wrote that track with David Julian. And actually, no, he wrote that by himself. Sent it to me with this lyric, and he goes, "Oh, dude, I'm just in this kind of a place, and I came up with the title Bloody, Bruised, and Beautiful. What do you think?" And I said, "I love the title. Not sure about the all of the parts. We worked on it together. I added some extra parts, middle bridges, and all of that sort of stuff. Sent it back to him, and I said, "Should I ask what this is about?" He goes, "Can't you tell, dude?" So I didn't delve. It kind of speaks for itself. He also sent me another track, "Wonder of the World," that will come out on Tuesday the 11th. And he co-wrote that with David Julian, and I didn't like the vocal, didn't like the melody, and I said, "Can I, have at it and see what I do?" So I rewrote the whole thing, sent it back to Aldo, and Aldo goes, "Now we're talking. Now we have a song," and voila! Surprised they picked it as the next single. Um, and it's kind of a little sort of again a bit like the best of me. I wanted something that we start the record, and then ended with sort of with how I did. There was a sort of a storyline, not conceptual by any stretch of the imagination. Um, yeah, so there were extra songs that came my way that I tweaked and worked on, and that's how we got to all of this.
That's interesting you say that because my next question was the sequencing of the album because it's definitely has a journey to it. It's old school.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And
it may not be a
I like the stories. I like a song to at least say something. Um, and if Jeff Pilson was sitting beside me, he would agree. And he go, I walk in there to do my Black Swan stuff, and he goes, "So what's the story today?"
yeah,
and
right.
and it's always something. I like to read. I love movies. I love scary movies, horror movies, vampire movies, old Hollywood movies, and I'm always thinking of subject matter, changing stuff, mingle them in with my crazy ideas, and everything is pretty spontaneous. I mean, I might have 5, 6 different sets of lyrics for every single song, and then I start chopping them up and going, throw it all away and go, I'm not making any sense of any of this. And then it'll come out. And you could ask me today what that song was that I wrote 6 months ago, and I'm going, I have absolutely no idea because I was in the moment, and this is a different day and a different song. So that's kind of how it works with me. Yeah.
Rewarding is it to build at this stage of your career, build another relationship with a fellow guitar musician like Andrea. Is that how you pronounce his name? Or Andrea?
Yes. Yes. Andrea.
Andrea. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
going on your third album together, if not
Third,
more. And
third solo record, yeah, and third Black Swan record, which gives me 6 records with Frontiers. What are they thinking?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's working for him. But going back to Andrea, how rewarding is that? Do you conceive like when you that process in your mind's going? Do you like we would work really great on this song together, or is it just you're just a
Yeah,
musician?
I think he's just he's a great musician. He's a great engineer.
Hmm.
Um, he loves his guitars. He loves his amps. He loves tinkering. He does a lot of posting where he helps people with sounds and getting different effects with their guitars. And he does little demos. And he's just that good. But like me working with Michael Schenker, um, yes, he's fast. Yes, he's revered in the guitar world, but his sense of melody is what captures me. And
Hmm.
Andrea has a great sense of melody. I mean, yes, he's fast. Yes, he does all of that stuff, but he just winds down and he comes back to that really nice format of melody, and it just caught me more than anybody else that I was working with on the recording level in the studio. And I want this guy. This guy suits where I'm coming from. Yeah.
Hmm. Black Swan. There's a rumor. There's one in the can. When are we going to hear the new one?
The rumor has it. Um, it's Matt has, I think, recorded 4 or 5 drum tracks already. Reb's done, I'm done, Jeff's done, and he just needs to get off his ass and finish it. But he's very busy. Jeff's very busy. Um, I'll see Reb at the Frontiers Festival. So it is just about done. When will we see it? I would hazard a guess, maybe sometime around the fall. That would kind of make sense to me. Getting everything, all the parts together. Um, they haven't given me a date. I'm just giving a wild sort of that what
Sure.
makes sense to me. Yeah.
And listeners, if you're new to the show or new to Robin, what we're talking about is the band Black Swan, Jeff Pilson of Dokken and Foreigner fame, Reb Beach, and Matt Starr. They're call it a
Incredible.
super group. They're super friends, and they're ready to put out their third one. So again, that's Black Swan. All right, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we have a couple listener questions. We're going to find out if Robin likes big boats. He better. And we're going to take a little walk down heavy metal memory lane. We're talking with Robin McAuley. We'll be right back. All right, now we come back.
Cool. That was fast. Did you have
Yeah,
some coffee?
yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Hey, listeners, remember, if you like what we're doing here, do us a favor. Get over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to this. Leave a review, subscribe to the pod, and help us spread the word of Metal Mayhem ROC around the globe. All right, we're talking with Robin McAuley, and again, his new one, Soulbound, comes out the 28th of February. It's probably out already by the time you're listening to this. SRI Records, or no, Frontier.
Frontiers. Yeah.
Frontier. Robin, where's the best place for people to purchase this album that's most beneficial to you and your outfit?
Yeah, well, obviously, if you go up onto YouTube and you watch the videos, there's all of the links on there. But if you just go on to Frontiers Music, SRL, um, and you click on that link right there, they'll give you all of the information for pre-orders, signed vinyl covers, and lots more up-to-date info. So Frontiers Music SRL will give you all the information that you want. Release dates, where you can get it, where you can order, etc.
All right, all right. And we'll have all that too as
Yeah,
well.
and I posted on my official Facebook and Instagram. So you'll see it on there. And if that's where you want to get your updates, that's where I will be.
All right, listener question time. Fellow podcasters, Mark and Tom from the Jersey Boys podcast have
Right.
a question. Yeah, the McAuley Schenker era had a radically different sound from the Gary Barden and Graham Bonnet eras of MSG. It leaned more to the AOR commercially accessible style. How did the shift happen? Was it an influence or was it a record? Was it your influence or was it a record label decision and direction path?
It was definitely a record label suggestion. Michael, throughout the audition process for a new singer,
Mm-hmm.
outside of the Michael Schenker Group, they wanted somebody. They basically wanted to get inroads into the American radio land. They wanted daytime radio in America. They wanted to make a dent. They wanted MTV. They wanted VH1. I was coasting comfortably on the back of a remake of Stairway to Heaven with Far Corporation. In Europe, we hit number 8 on the UK charts. We sold over 2.5 million singles alone in the UK. Top 40 record. I shared all of that with the great Bobby Kimball from Toto. So it was a huge hit. Rudolf Schenker heard it on the radio and he said, "Oh, Michael, I think you should contact this singer." Michael says, "Oh, I already approached him 4 years ago and he refused to join me," which is a true story because I was with my band Grand Prix. And when I got approached, they came out to see a live show. Next day, I'm out on the Sammy Hagar, Stanley Hampton tour with Grand Prix. So I just really wasn't available. Fast forward 4 years, Michael's back on the radar. I auditioned. I was the last of 17. Klaus Meine, Rudolf Schenker, the management company who used to Lieber Krebs, who managed Ted Nugent, Aerosmith. They all came together and said, "You're the guy. Do you like touring? We need songs for U.S. radio." And I went, "Oh, just that easy, huh?" Just
Yeah.
like that. And so, there it was. We were thrown into the studio. Not so much writing by numbers, but, write something that's AOR friendly, yada, yada, yada. And that was the task at hand. And then, of course, Michael goes, "I want to change the name from Michael Schenker Group to McAuley Schenker Group," which is how that came about. And I went, "This is crazy. I don't really need the name up there. I love the MSG logo. If it works, don't fix it." They changed it anyway. And we made a dent at MTV, VH1, and US radio. And I always like to tell people maybe a day late and a penny short, but we got there anyway.
Let alone you changed the name. How did you get top billing over Michael Schenker? Did it roll off the tongue better, or was it in your contract? Jokingly,
you can buy me drinks, pay me money, and the story will not change. It was entirely 100% Michael's idea. He goes, "I need a partner, and in order to do that, I want to change the name. I'm fed up with Michael Schenker Group. This will be a new phase." And I worked with Phil Mogg, M for Mogg. Great time with UFO. "My name is Michael, M for Michael. Your name is McAuley, M for McAuley. It seems perfectly logical to me," said he, "to call it McAuley Schenker Group." And I said, "It's such a mouthful. Just call it MSG and make yourself happy." And of course, he always had, which he does today, he always had the rights to go back to Michael Schenker Group. I mean, while the MSG logo remained for McAuley Schenker Group, it was tweaked a little bit to look a little bit different. Same with Michael Schenker Fest. So that's really how it came about, John. Yeah.
Well, as an old radio guy, it's interesting because if you say Schenker McAuley Schenker rolls off the tongue better.
Because it's that M that's associated with the MSG logo. It's just it's a change, but it's not such a radical change that you lose that sort of.
Yeah, well, you were rebranding. It was a different band. You needed a different, it was 87, 88, 89. It worked. That's what it worked. The songs are legendary. They're great songs. They're not, they're not fluff from the 80s. It's good stuff, man. And hey, 40 years later, people are still flicking their bits when you do it. So you struck gold. The next question, Andrea Janet from Forest Hills, New York. Andrea says she's met you a couple times and she shared pictures and she loves you. I even invited her to come onto this interview to ask the question herself, but she couldn't make it. But her question is, Robin, you're going on the Monsters of Rock cruise. Have you ever done a rock cruise before? And what song are you looking forward to singing the most on that cruise?
Oh, well, hello, Andrea. And if I've taken photos with you, bring them along and I'll sign them for you. Monsters of Rock cruise? No, I have not done a cruise before. I missed out on one a couple of years ago with MSG. I was doing a Vegas residency, which I did for 7 years, over 1,500 shows with Radio in the Rock Vault. And I unexpectedly got very sick and I did not make the cruise. I pray to God we'll make this cruise. What am I looking forward? So it's Michael Schenker Group. It's MSG. It's not McAuley Schenker. So you will not hear any McAuley Schenker songs in the show, but you will hear all of the classics of the MSG period. Plus, you'll hear songs from Resurrection, and yeah, it's there's a lot of songs in there, and if you're an MSG fan, you will absolutely know all of them. Songs from Assault Attacker in there, so from the
Mm-hmm.
MSG period, the Armed and Ready period, all of that stuff is in there. So it's great catalog of songs, and I get the I have some big boots to fill, following Gary and Gramm. But I hope you have a great time. We already took it out last year for all of the festivals in Europe, and yeah, it gets noisy up there. So
Well, I'm not going on to it. I hope Andrea is. I believe she's done it a few times, but I will pass that message along. Let's see, before we get down to the end, when is your band starting to play some of this solo material? What's that tour? What's that looking like?
So very quickly, October last year, I headlined a Firefest festival in Manchester in the UK. The promoters had approached me, having seen MSG both in the UK, saw Sweden Rock, saw all of the other festivals, and they went, "Ah, not one McAuley Schenker Group song. How disappointing, blah, blah, blah. How would you like to come and do your own show, but only with McAuley Schenker Group songs? And of course, you can add in some solo songs and some Grand Prix if you're up for it." So we put a show together in Manchester. I invited some of the Grand Prix guys along, which was a surprise entrance, which was amazing. And then suddenly the phone is ringing from other promoters going, "Can you do it for me? Can you do it for me?" So I did Sweden last week. I'll go back to Sweden in
Okay.
August. I already have posted, I think, 6 or 7 UK shows, and we're adding to it all of the time. That will all happen in August. And I will be on the Monsters of Rock cruise in March. I will be at the Frontiers Festival in April, and I think we'll add another 5, 6, God knows how many shows attached to that. I also have solo shows in Germany and Spain.
It sounds exhausting. It sounds exhausting.
Yeah, I'm exhausted just telling you.
What about America? I know we're a different beast. It's tough in America.
Well, thank you for tagging that on to the end. So people have said, why not America? And my answer to that is the same as it is for the rest of Europe. So I have a promoter that really likes the material, wants me to do the show. I need the same thing to happen in the States.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't have a promoter going, "Can you do a show?" I can't just go, "Hey, I'm coming to your town to do a show," and nobody will show up. So there has to be the interest, of course, John, and we're working
Mm-hmm.
at sort of putting some feelers out and see what kind of a feedback we get. And if that materializes, which I hope it does, then you'll see me in the States, and however many shows that materializes into, it would be awesome. It would be great. If you're a McAuley Schenker Group fan, a Black Swan fan, or my solo stuff, you will hear it, and the band will be great, and you will not be disappointed.
Cool. I'm up here in Rochester, New York, and through show research, I found out one of your all-time faves is my old neighbor. I used to be his paper boy, Lou Gramm. Tell us about Lou.
Luigi Grammatico. What can I tell you about Lou? first time I ever met Lou, I was recording here in LA right at the beginning of McAuley Schenker Group. And we had just released Anytime as a single. And I came out of the studio in the middle of a vocal session for a short break and walking across the parking lot because Lou was in Shadow King at the time with Vivian Campbell, etc. And so I saw him coming. And of course, I'm a huge fan, huge influence. And he saw me and he goes, "You're that guy that sings Anytime." And I'd never never spoke to Lou before. And I said, "I am." And he said, "I was in Rochester, New York in my car." And just a little segue here. So whenever Lou would come to LA, as far as I was told, on this particular day, he was driving an old Dodge Dart. So he'd come into LA, he wouldn't rent a car. He'd buy he loved these old Dodge Darts. And that's what he had. And so I'm looking at the car. I wasn't looking at Lou. I'm going, "That's a cool car, dude." And he said, "I was in Rochester. I had the radio on. I heard this track." And he said, "I pulled over to the hard shoulder." And he goes, "I hate that singer. That's how much I love this song." Quote unquote. And Lou and I became, I'd like to say, good friends. Was up at his house for a barbecue where he was staying here. Michael and I did the Unplugged tour. We bumped into Lou in London. And everywhere I went, Lou seemed to be there. And years later, then I joined Survivor. And we did a bunch of piggyback shows together with Lou Gramm and his band. And then we did the Vegas show, Raiding the Rock Vault. And we had Lou guesting with us for a whole week. Love the man. Absolutely love his voice. Love how he sings a song, how he writes lyrics, and how he delivers the song. I mean, I would believe anything that he sings because that's how big an influence he is on me. If anybody can sell a song like Lou Gramm, show me the man because yeah, incredible. And thank you, Lou Gramm, for your years of great songs and great music. So,
and it's awesome that he had a closure to his career, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, for whatever that's worth. That and now this farewell, those dates that he's doing, and it's just amazing. Lou, I've met him several times. Again, he's a hometown guy. Quick little story: when I was younger, he built a house and moved into the same subdivision where my parents and I was living. So I was his paper boy. He was like half a mile away. He would come into the pizza.
Lou was a good man. Whenever I would bump into him, one of the first things he would do, he would open his wallet and he goes, "Let me show you some new photos of my kids." That's Nick. That's who we're talking about. That's who we're talking about. Yeah. And so, he's got my vote always.
All right. Well, that's it. The new album again, Soulbound, out February 28th on Frontiers Music. Robin McAuley, look for the Black Swan. If you're over in America or Europe, check out all his dates, Monsters of Rock, and hopefully we'll see him in America. Robin, thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Metal Mayhem. You guys are awesome. Love being on here. And thanks for the questions. And come and see me on the road. You won't be disappointed. We'll have a good time and play it loud.
That's our motto. Keep it heavy. For Robin McAuley, I'm the Vernomatic. This is Metal Mayhem ROC.
Thank you.
Metal for life.
Thank you for listening to Metal Mayhem ROC. Check out our website at metalmayhemroc.com for information on podcasts, archives, links to all our live radio shows, and all sorts of info. Please like, follow, and share with everyone, even your non-metal friends. And always remember to keep it heavy.